Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And in this one, I want to speak to you about flirting and INFJs. Unfortunately, INFJs are not good at flirting. I wanted to say it in a nicer way, and I want to be like, well, no. Actually, we're just terrible at flirting. We have no idea how to do it. And I know I don't know how to flirt. I really have no idea. What am I supposed to be doing? Batting my eyelashes? Like, how do you even do that? So, in general, I believe we're charming people. I'm not saying that we're not charming. We are charming, and people are always enamored by our charm, and we're like, oh, they're so warm and loving and kind. Oh my God, I really like being around them. And we'll hear things like that all the time from other people. Or I'll hear this kind of things from people who are in love with INFJs, and they're like, I really like her. She's so warm, and I just love being around her. But I'm so confused by her. The videos that I've done already about dating an INFJ. And so, we are charming, we're warm, we're nice, we're kind, fun to be around, etc. That's all good, well and good. But we're not good at flirting. And unfortunately, we're not good at flirting. And also, unfortunately, flirting is the way modern human beings indicate interest in each other. Now, really, I'm sounding like an alien talking about human beings because I'm like, look at this civilization. This is how they do it. Because literally, I feel like an alien when I speak or watch people flirting. I'm looking at them like, wow, how do they actually know what to do? Now she's doing that. She's touching him on the arm and she's giggling and laughing and flipping her hair. And I'm like literally sitting there, like an introvert does. And I'm watching a couple of extroverts or an extrovert and an introvert or someone else kind of flirting with each other. And they're sitting together and they're like doing all their thing. They're playing that game, the flirting game that people play all the time. And I literally want to just sit down and be like taking notes. Okay, so this is how you do. That's how you do. That's where you touch. Okay, cool. That's how it goes. And I literally want to be sitting there taking notes. But then you take the notes and you're like, all right, this is how it goes. And then you actually put it into practice and you're sitting in front of someone and you're like, I really like them, and they seem to be flirting with me. I think they like me, or at least want to have sex with me. And so, what should I do now? And so for me particularly, I've been sitting there and thinking, so flirting. Okay, so I have to flirt with them. What do I do? And what I always end up doing is saying something really mean about them, or being angry with them, or just really putting them down in some way. I don't know why I do this. And this is one thing that I've noticed a lot of INFJs do. When we like someone, we start putting them down. And I've done videos on this. It's a mystery. I don't know why we do it. It's like something just shuts off in us and we just don't know how to behave in public anymore or in a social situation. And so we're sitting there and, we're thinking, oh, I really like this person. How should I behave? How about this? I start being mean to them and I'll start putting them down and insulting them. That's a great idea. And so instead of actually flirting with them and, being coy, which again, I don't know how to do, or, being flirty, or, being like touchy-feely and be like, oh, you're so cute. Whatever people do when they flirt, I have no idea really. Instead of doing all that stuff, we start insulting the person, or being mean, or becoming aloof, or becoming cold, or withdrawing from them, or running away, right? All things that are completely the opposite of flirting. Now, I don't know if you're a major expert on flirting, but if you're an INFJ, you probably are not. Well, I shouldn't say that, but very high likelihood that you're not. Or you've made yourself learn to be good at flirting, but you have no idea what you're actually doing. You're just kind of following the rule book. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. For me, as an INFJ, I know I'm not good at flirting. And a lot of times it's so funny because, I'm sitting in front of a person and they're obviously like trying to play the game with me. And sometimes it's very obvious to me and I'm like, I think this person likes me, or is at least trying to get into my pants. Okay, cool. That sounds good. And then, of course, I'll insult them and run away. Or, I'll be sitting there and they're trying to flirt with me and I have no idea what they're trying to do. Like, literally, I have no idea. They're flirting and sending me signals, sending me signals, sending me signals. And I'm just sitting there completely oblivious, thinking about like a writing project that I'm doing, or completely out of the zone and not even listening to what the person's talking about because I don't think it's completely anything related to me. And I'm in my zone, I'm in my head, I'm in my imaginary world, and I'm like, all right, you know what, I think I'm done with this thing, and I just leave. Well, meanwhile, this person is in front of me trying to flirt with me, and I have no idea. Like I'm there like, what is he doing? Why is he saying these things? And it's funny because a lot of times, thankfully, I have friends who are like, that person actually was trying to flirt with you. What the hell were you doing? Why did you walk away? What's going on with you? I mean, can you not pay attention for a second? And I'm glad that I have friends like this because I'll be like, oh shoot, really was that person? I had no idea. I don't know. Why couldn't you have told me earlier? Sometimes it's salvageable. Sometimes I can go back, be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, or I can say something and fix the situation. Most times I can't because I'm already out of the situation and done with it and forgotten about the whole situation. And so, unfortunately, you can't always have your friends tagging along with you everywhere. Be like, all right, this person's flirting with you, this person's not. You can't always have extroverts around you telling you, all right, this is what's going on. This is what you need to do now. I wish I had an extroverted person right next to me all the time. Be like, all right, this is what's going on right now. You're being an idiot. Stop being oblivious. He's flirting with you. He's sending you all the signals. Go for it. I remember this kind of incident in my life very clearly, and I still feel so embarrassed when I think about it. So I was sitting at a table with a guy, and he was younger than me. So that's one of the reasons. When men are younger than me, I assume that they're not interested in me. For some reason, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's younger than me. He must not be interested. Obviously, he was. Now I know he was interested. But he was sitting there, and he was with his girlfriend, and they were really close. And I assumed they were dating. And I always assume when there's a man and a woman around, I assume that the woman is dating the man because I just don't want to get into the middle of things. So they're sitting there. He's sitting in front of me. The girl's sitting next to me. And, I'm sitting there in my head. I'm completely not even listening to what they're talking about. And, the guy's sitting in front of me and he, says something. And I'm like, oh, right, this man's talking to me. I look up and he's smiling at me and, he's doing all these things and he's trying to show me that he's interested. I'm literally completely oblivious. I had no idea that he's interested. Afterwards, the girl tells me, I think my friend's interested in you. And by that time, he's already dancing with someone else, so there was no point in me going up to him. I'm like, really? Are you sure? Aren't you guys dating? Or are you in an open relationship? And she's like, no, we're not dating. We're just friends. And he's interested in you. And I'm telling you because I'm his friend, and I just thought you should know. By that time, it was too late anyways, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, how could I not even know? He was, oh my God. Anyways, I left by that time because I was too tired, and I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I messaged him later, but by that time, I think it was just done. He was just like, I guess she's not interested. I guess she doesn't care. But I still remember that situation because it was obviously very clear to everyone else. Everyone on the table knew that that person was trying to flirt with me. And it wasn't clear to me. And this is something that happens a lot in relationships with INFJs or potential relationships or romance with INFJs. We are completely oblivious. And one of the things I constantly tell non-INFJs is that if you're not being direct with an INFJ saying, I really like you, I want to date you, if you don't actually use those words directly, and I always will be like, did you actually say those words? And the non-INFJ will be like, well, I've been calling her all the time, and I've been hanging out with her all the time, and I've been, doing, I'm like, did you say these words? Did you say, I like you, I want to date you? Did you say these words? And usually the non-INFJ is like, but I've given them all these other signals. And I'm like, no, those signals are useless. It's like a donkey talking to a human being. We have no idea what they're saying. We literally have no idea what you're talking about. We don't know. We haven't gotten the signals. You have to clearly tell an INFJ, I like you. I want to date you. Do you want to date me? It sounds very, very kindergartenish when you actually think about it that way. But it's literally how direct you have to be with an INFJ. Because until that point, they might have an inkling. They're like, I think she's interested. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm making things up. Maybe I have too much of an ego. Maybe I need to be a little bit more humble. Not everyone's interested in me. Why do I have to think that he's interested? All of this stuff. We'll play mind games with ourselves, and we'll convince ourselves that the person's not interested, even though they're sending us all these signals. And so you literally have to say, hey, I love you. I really like you. I want to hang out with you more. I want to date you. Whatever it might be, whatever you want to do with that INFJ, you have to put it out in clearer words. If it's English, in clear English words. If it's Latin, clear Latin. Whatever your language is, clearly say it to the person, I like you. I want to date you. I want to marry you, whatever it might be, right? So say those words out loud because, as I said, the INFJ has no idea. You might think that they're very intuitive and smart and intelligent and you're like, wow, they really know a lot of things. They know a lot of things about other things. They do not know anything about relationships. They definitely do not know about flirting, and they have no clue about any of the signs and signals and messages and all of those courier pigeons that you've sent that their way saying, I like you. They don't know. They've completely ignored all of them. They have no idea. They probably didn't even see you doing any of that stuff. If they did, they completely convinced themselves that you didn't. So you need to be clear with them. And please, INFJs, kind of open up your eyes a bit and realize that maybe that person's actually doing all these things because they're interested in you. Open up your eyes, for God's sake. Anyways, I'm saying this to myself. I'm really saying it to myself, actually. So I hope this makes sense. I hope that I was able to explain myself to you. I wanted to do a fun, light video this time around, so that's why it's kind of comedic and a little bit light. If you have questions, comment below and I shall do a follow-up video. I know dating videos are doing really well right now with INFJs. And so if you have dating questions, particularly non-INFJs, if you have questions, message me or comment below and I shall do a follow-up video. Thank you so much for being on my channel. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you the next time around. Bye for now.